So the first question I want to ask you, sir, has been your experience. Did you regret it? Are you proud as a vet?
That question has come to me many times in my years of practice. The best way to answer it is to say that if one has been doing what he's doing for 35 years, 36 years, 26 years, consistently, then something is good there. Otherwise, there would have been fatigue, you know. Can there be a better way to improve what I'm doing? Of course, the biggest room on earth is the room for improvement, isn't it? So I have no regrets at all being a veterinary doctor. And I do not expect any veterinarian to regret having chosen the profession of veterinary medicine. And I will explain as we go on. Because you are what you want to be, despite the profession you have chosen. I have seen many medical doctors, human medical doctors, who have told me, who have sworn in my presence that they will never allow any of their family members, let alone children, to study medicine. I have seen lawyers, successful senior advocates of Nigeria, those who should be my friends now, also say the same thing. But I've seen a lot of people admire them from outside. So you are exactly what you have chosen to become, not minding the course you have taken. That is very important. Femi said something now. I don't want to praise him too much in his presence here. You guys are lucky having him moderate your training for you, because he's one of the best examples of those who own tomorrow for us in this profession. If you don't know it now, you will know it later. He said something right now, and he said, if you speak to the right person, you might just be saving 10 years. He said it just casually. In fact, that's just being conservative, because you can speak to the right person and you could be saving 20 years of a wrong route. Wow. You know, if you're traveling to Kaduna from here and you choose to face Gwagwalada, you are traveling anyway, isn't it? But are you going to Kaduna? No, you may go to Kaduna, because it only means you might have to still come back and pass through Abuja to go to Kaduna. So a lot of people are like that, even in the profession they have chosen. By going a wrong route, I'm very busy in that route. Very busy, you know, making miles, acquiring miles. But are they doing the right thing? No. Until they have to meet that right person who could guide them and take them to the right route. That's the import of the statement he just casually made here. That you might be saving 10 years just by meeting and speaking to the right persons. And I must tell you that the tension you pass through in school, training, is a tiny aspect of what the profession has to offer you. And you definitely might not be having that right person, even amongst the lecturers who are training you. You might not. And they might not be the best example of what the profession represents, because they're doing their jobs. Their job is to train you. Their job is not to hold your hand and lead you to where you should be in the profession. No. They are doing their job. What you need to get the right perspectives of what your profession offers you is the internship you are seeing here now. I will tell you how I became a veterinary doctor later on. So let me not put all of the eggs in one basket at the same time. I think you understand what I'm saying.
Thank you so much, sir. So to reiterate, I think it's just best to pay rapt attention, right? He said, it's you that determines the outcome, not the profession. I see people blaming veterinary medicine. I see young people that no, it's not lucrative in Nigeria. Don't be deceived. There are veterinary doctors that are very successful. There are lawyers that are failing. There are doctors that are failing. So it's you that makes the profession, not that the profession is making you, right? So I'm going to be asking 5 questions consecutively, but I hope that we're all prepared with our various questions so that when the time comes, we can pick up those questions. So, I'm glad you said you don't have any regrets despite there rooms for improvement. So what are the top 3 advice you want to give looking back 35 years? So he mentioned that there are rooms for improvement. Looking back, looking at this new set of people that will soon be leaving school in another 2-3 years, some are in 600 level. How many of you are in 600 level yet? Right, so we have 1, 2, so we have 3. What advice will you give? Top 3 advice will you give to them since they are just starting their journey? So.
Mind orientation, or is it reorientation, I will call it. Mind change. It's a new, very common language amongst the mentoring curriculum these days. You know, mind change. First, you need to have that victory at heart. However, you are coming to the course. Some of you could have applied to study pharmacy, medicine, and then because they were not admitted into those courses, they decided to come into veterinary medicine. It doesn't matter any longer. You must have a new mindset that this is what I'm choosing. There is this popular proverb, don't mind us, that is how we grew up. So in the days when the light comes back, we say, up NEPA. There is this popular saying that if life throws lemon at you, what do you do with it? You make lemonade. So quite a number of you, of us, not me, I determined to read veterinary medicine from day one. I had grade 1 in my secondary school, aggregate 19. You guys don't know the meaning of all of those things these days. Because nowadays, you were classified into grade 1, grade 2, grade 3, I think SR, Statement of Result, and then failure. Grade 1 was up there, and then we had grade 1 distinction. So I was in the grade of grade 1 distinction. And we were the first set of JAM, that was 1978. That's a long time. So, and the option of subjects or courses to read, 3 options. I feel veterinary medicine, second choice, veterinary medicine, third choice, veterinary medicine, and I'm a veterinarian today. So not by mistake. But what I'm saying is that does not matter at all. If you hadn't such conviction at the beginning to choose veterinary medicine, it does not matter again when you graduate. It should not matter. But if you carry it on as a hangover, that is where you need that mindset change. That is very, very critical. That's the most important thing. You don't have that mindset change, to now know that you are in your profession. You would have just lost 7 years or 6 years just for the fun of coming out to begin to lament and wonder, I would have wanted to be a medical doctor, I would have wanted to be a lawyer, that is out of the way. So I can tell you today that a lot of veterinarians today suffer from that hangover. There is no way you can have such handover and be successful. Mind you, to make money is not the subject now, because success is not necessarily about making money. Anybody can make money. My father was a very successful contractor, building contractors, they called them in those days. You know, I mean, he was not even an engineer, but he had contracts because of relationship with government people, and he was rich. But there is a difference between being a professional, successful person and a rich man. You can be successful as a professional without necessarily being rich in cash. Let's begin to know those differences. And the earlier you have that as part of your mindset change, the better for you. Because anybody can make money. And I said it during during the intro I had with you the other time, that because you are a veterinarian must not stop you from finding ways to make money legitimately. It's not even the number of injections I think the second house I built was not built from the proceeds of veterinary medicine. I will share that with you right now because this is some of the things we need to be telling you now. I got a friend, a classmate in secondary school as an architect, and he got a job, a federal government project job in Delta. And of course, my house was his first point of call. And he came to stay with me while the hotel provided for him by the consultants that had the original job. He left them and came to stay with me. And right in there, we decided to have the supply of the substructure sharp sand that project required. And I made exactly what I needed to buy a house. That was not syringes and needle. But that did not remove the doctor from my name, did it? So being successful as a professional, I will tell you today, is about one, the satisfaction that I have been trained in an area for which I am an expert and for which I could demonstrate a skill that can get paid for. That's very important because there are many people who don't have who cannot be so differentiated, even when they have money. Haven't you heard about quite a lot of rich people that have been described as illiterates before? Or the popular money misroad kind of slang? They have money, but they still refer to them as money misroad people. They will pay anything to have the doctor affixed to their name, don't you know? I have a friend at the University of Benin, actually the registrar, because he has, we live in the same area, who said, all this honorary doctorate you are looking at, it's not for free, not only for people who think that maybe they have some honor attached to them. And they were asking, a candidate was coming to offer them 250 million naira as donation to the university just because he wanted to be an honorary doctor. So that is the difference. But you as a professional, be you a lawyer, be you a medic, be you a veterinary doctor, have a profession for which you can demonstrate expertise. That is part of the difference between the definition of successes. I don't know if I'm taking too much of your time. Okay.
Well, we mentioned part of the things he said, and I think we should pay attention to, is that, well, it's okay, you can make some money from the profession, but there's much more money in people, right? my younger brother, he watched me when I was 7, and then he got into the poultry business. And the poultry business now is not that lucrative because the expenses are high. And he said he was discouraged. I say, Uncle, the kind of money you said you want is in people. So I said he needs to rejig his circle. If I were you today, having to listen to Dr. Gani, you will form a connection with him. I don't miss good people. I'm always around them intentionally, because sometimes what you need is beyond what you can produce. It's also in the people around you. Do we get that? Thank you. So I want to ask her, and young people have this issue, money versus mission. You've mentioned it. Which should I pursue first? Unfortunately, some people have bills to pay as young as they are, right? You have bills to pay. Not girlfriend, boyfriend bills, right? That one is self-inflicted. You have bills to pay. So I see young people, they know that this is what they need to be doing. Like they need to be learning, actively learning. But yet the bills are staring at them. How mission, money versus mission, profit versus purpose. What should we do, sir?
Let me summarize the earlier question, because you asked me to talk about 3 very key areas. One, if you listen very well, I want you to multiply beyond what I'm saying in your hearts. I said mindset change as number 1. I talked about relationship, which he got it, he amplified it. I told you about a classmate of mine who was an architect and through whom I had some wealth. I also talked about being very brave to dabble into things that are legitimate that could give you wealth. Those are very critical things. Every other thing I said were just additional, but just to color them up. Do you understand? Those are 3 most important things you need to know. Mission and versus money. Money answereth all things, they say in the Bible, isn't it? But don't wait there. Money is good because you need money to do so many things in truth. But if you make money that you have not worked for, you will not have the wisdom to manage that money. How do you work for money? Part of the way to work for money is what we are doing now. Go to school, get trained, and then listen to stories from those who are ordinarily have come out before you and have made stories that can be described as successful. That is struggling and hard work. And all of those things should process in you the wisdom to manage money when you have it. If you inherit money, just like somebody was saying recently, I posted this on a platform, how those bettings or these gamblers, I don't want to particularize it, but those gamblers make a lot of money. And most of them, those money runs down, spiral down, because they will never have that wisdom to manage the money they have stumbled into. So money is good, but beyond money is the mission from which we are looking at you now. Money has to be in a very secondary rating in your hearts. I'd like to give examples. About a month ago, Dr. Clement, no, I'm wrong. What's his name? Meseko. It's one of my mentees. He actually did all his attachments in Ganrovit. So we are bonded like beyond brothers, He is the head of most of the viral investigative missions in Nigeria today. He's a veterinarian. Called me from US and said, sir, there is an opportunity coming to Nigeria that the United States Ministry of Agriculture, described the department, wants to have a workshop and to train some people for investigatory roles on monkeypox, because monkeypox was becoming a scare for them in US. It has been with us for 40 years. In fact, for 40 years, there have been gaps of, so we don't know, they will not care if it doesn't affect them over there. But if you've been reading through some reports recently, monkeypox has been a world factor, isn't it? So he called me and said, there's going to be an opportunity and he wants me to nominate, and he has been given the assignment to assemble the team for Nigeria, for Africa. And the first workshop will be taking place in Lagos, and he wants me to nominate one of my staff or any vet I like, who's a young vet, to be part of the team. I felt honored. And I called one of our mentees in the group, Eze, Chubuike or something like that. Chikube, something like that. Because he had just left me some hours before that. So let me just give him this opportunity. He said, okay, sir, how much are they going to pay me? Telling you this is a life story. The friend said, sir, how much would they pay me? Because I wouldn't be able to leave my clinic for 2 weeks for any cost without knowing how much they will pay. I didn't even know how much they will pay anyway, because I didn't ask Mr. how much they will pay. But I knew you must have that golden eye to be able to spot goals when they come around. Very important. Part of what you must take away from here is to develop that art to be able to spot opportunities when they come to you. Remember, we are discussing money and mission. So that was the first thing he asked me. He didn't think of the opportunity. He didn't see the opportunities there. He asked me, he said, how much, sir, how much did they pay me, sir? I didn't know how much they were going to pay because I didn't ask the second. So I just told him, okay, I'll get back to you, because that was already very infuriating, because I didn't know how much they were going to pay. Then there was this other guy, that blessing at that he also just walked in. So you need to be full of some prayers too, to be at the right place at the right time, because sometimes some of these things, then make sure you keep your network working all the time. I have a son who is always, whenever I call him, he's removed his battery and is using desktop charger to charge his battery. And the thing would not ring. When he finally pick later, he won't even call me back until I will call him and he'll say, Daddy, sorry, I was charging the phone. You charging the phone? You wouldn't know when the best of calls will come to you. So if you are one of those, like my son who behaves like that, wake up today and make sure your communication is at its peak. So I called the second guy, Blessing Adagbo, and he picked the phone. I wasn't sure when he was going to round up his youth service. He was always with us in the clinic because somebody else mentioned our name to him when he came to serve in Delta State. Blessing, there is a course that is going to take place in Lagos, 14 days. Will you be able to attend it? Yeah, sir, I will go, sir. I'll be there, sir. When are you finishing your service? Now told me the date, which was just about 3-4 days to the time the team will start. He never asked me for how much they were going to pay him. And he did not ask, I did not know until after the course was over. I don't know whether you're following me. So I now took his name quickly, give me your full names, your email address, and I forwarded it to Mexico that same night. A week later, of course, Eze called later to say, sir, was any news about that? I said, there's no news again, because I will look for another opportunity for you. Blessing went for that course. They sent me the ticket. They got a ticket for him. They got him lodged in the Sheraton Hotel. accommodation alone was 450,000 naira.
I've slept there.
He said they came to pick him up at the airport. Was like a big man. He was writing to me every step of the way that, sir, I can't believe what I'm seeing. I go to the airport, they came, that was my name on the cardboard. To cut a long story short, when they finished the course about a month ago, they paid him 565,000. I don't know how they calculated it, 565,000 naira as training fee.
For 2 weeks.
For 2 weeks. He called me and said, sir, please, can I send my account number so that he can put the money to the account? They have just paid them. Which money? It's your money. So what am I saying? These are two people, one who put money first and the other who did not. And then you can see the blessing. But that is not the end. They have just called them now to come for a training in Ghana. And it's one of those that have been picked to go and train those people in Ghana. So you can imagine what they will pay. So money, mission first.
Yep.
Money will always come if you have the mannerism, the good mannerism, and the temperament to wait for money to come to you.
Wow. I thought it's a good place to clap, right?
Clap for me.
It's a brilliant place to clap. It's a brilliant place to clap, right? So there are two approaches to money. You can either pursue it or you can attract it, right? If you pursue it, it runs faster. If you become a person of value, it will pursue you. So as young people, right, pursue being valuable. Every other thing will follow. I work hard to become necessary in people's life. Because the more I become necessary, the more they need me, the more I know they can pay me when I bill them. So it is value first. And as young people, so you can decide whether those people who are pursuing money, go and look at their life. Those people who become valuable, put like a heavy thought on becoming valuable. It's like a seed. You plant it, right? You go down, nothing. But when it starts germinating fruit, it will yield for you harvest you will love. Right? You've heard from him. And be also concerned about people who are concerned about you. Submit to them. I have quite a lot of leaders I respect in the veterinary profession, but I pay attention to people who have my interests at heart, and I fall under them. Because there are some people that we see opportunity. You can imagine they call, please nominate. I can join now. And there are some vets, senior colleagues that could do that. But he said, let me look for somebody and throw that opportunity in their laps. There are people, and don't boycott loyalty. You cannot. Some people don't even have anybody they submit to. There should be people in your life that can call you to order, right? And when you find that those people are there and they have your best interests at heart, if they call you midnight, pick it up. Don't ask any question, just do. Because the reward of that, you will not be able to quantify. Is that okay? I will learn in anything. So as a little interruption, they just brought in a magazine, was launched in Germany by BI, and Farmalert made one of the cover stories, right? And we're very proud. So I was eager to see the magazine and see building an ecosystem of change. Thank you. All right, so
that clapping is not loud. Aha. Congratulations.
Thank you so much. So let's talk about the Veterinary Council. Most of them here don't know the composition of the Veterinary Council board. If you don't mind, can you help us just state who and who makes up the Veterinary Council board.
I will not just do that. I will also try to use this opportunity to make you different from what many veterinarians that are even of my age or senior to me don't even know today. The difference between the structures in the veterinary profession. As late as yesterday, I still got somebody who was still confused about the Veterinary Council of Nigeria and the NVMA, Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association. The person was my classmate in our platform of 1985 graduates. He did not know. It's difficult to say this. If you don't plant those seeds in you now, you could also be such victims. We have three basic tripods. Let me say that. A tripod in the veterinary profession, the Veterinary Association, which is what you obviously have to relate with. The Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association is the umbrella organization for all veterinarians to worry about your welfare and carry advocacies that have to do with all that is beautiful in the veterinary profession. I think that is very easy to know, isn't it? I was a past president of the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association, so I'm very proud of that aspect of the profession, because it has to do with looking at the interest of others, by election. Then we have the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. That is a government agency. It's a regulatory body. It's the policeman, like Aisha used to like that word. It's like the watchdog, the policeman, and the judge as well for the profession. Because that is the organ of in the profession that regulates the practice of the profession in that country. It is generally referred to as the veterinary statutory body, because they are the custodians of the laws that guides the practice of the profession. So the World Organization of Animal Health, that we used to call OIE, I'm sure in your public health training they will be referring to them as OIE, but you can't use that now again. You look very out of fashion. Is WOA, that is World Organization of Animal Health. Describe the veterinary councils as the veterinary statutory bodies, as a description that cuts across globally. We have elected membership from the body of veterinarians. They are stakeholders, but they are very, very, very essential stakeholders in the council or the board or the governing board of the council. And in Nigeria, as of today, the law says 8 elected members must come from amongst the body of veterinarians in that country, in Nigeria. I don't know, in other countries, the rules may not be the same. So we have 8 members as elected members in Nigeria's Veterinary Council. Incidentally, 2 of us are elected members here. Femi is an elected member, very strong. I'm an elected member. That is to say, we were asked to contest for those positions. And during our time, 3 years ago, about 35 people were qualified to contest, and 8 were successful, because it has to be 8. Then we also have the statutory membership, those who by their responsibilities have to belong to the council. 1, we have the Chief Veterinary Officer of Nigeria, who is the director in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development. that is the most senior coordinating director in the Federal Department of Veterinary and Pest Control Services. So by that responsibility and role, watching over the policies of government and managing the veterinary services organizations or governing veterinary services provision in the country, he or she has to be a statutory member of the Veterinary Council. And that is for obvious reasons, isn't it? Then we have those who produce the veterinarians, the deans of the faculties of veterinary medicine or the colleges of veterinary medicine as it applies. They are also statutory members of the Veterinary Council of Nigeria. That's about it. So the NVMA, I already said the NVMA, I already described the NVMA. I think that's clear. That is the association. That one, of course, its own complete structure of the president, the vice president, and then, of course, the various offices that, just like your AVMS, I think you still have AVMS, isn't it? I was the president of AVMS in UI too. So that is how it goes. But like I said, those tripod, I mentioned the NVMA, then the Veterinary Council, and the department itself, that is the Federal Department of Veterinary and Pest Control Services, in domicile in the Federal Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, FMAN. Those are the three legs of the veterinary structure in this country. And they are independent. I repeat again, they are independent, unique, and part of the diversification. Okay. These three organs are independent, unique, and part of the unity in diversity that makes the veterinary profession very robust. If you have any other question later on, maybe we can address that. But does it look clear enough now? There are specific responsibilities. The Veterinary Council has its set of mandates, things they have to do. First, among the various roles, is that they have to continue to train veterinarians post-graduation, that is continuing professional development programs. They have to manage the curriculum, draw up and manage the curriculum of training veterinarians. So it is the Veterinary Council that shapes all that you do in school today. If you have too much course load, blame the council for it. If you're not having enough, blame the council for it. So it's the council that has the authority over the curriculum of training for all cadres of veterinary professionals. And it is only the council that can decide whether you're a veterinarian by mandate. They have a register by law which they keep of all veterinarians. As soon as you are graduating, you'll find yourself on that register if you have truly passed through the curriculum. So they manage and keep that register of veterinarians. No other organ can do that. And it is the Veterinary Council that can take you to task with respect to laws and ethics. I hope you know the difference between laws and ethics. So if you have done anything that is considered not right as a professional, it is only the Veterinary Council that can take you to task. They can set up an investigatory panel and a tribunal to try you as a professional and requalify you, punish you, or exonerate you based on their findings. So they have a very wide power that makes the policeman in them very, very, very significant. The NVMA, that is the Nigerian Veterinary Medical Association, like I said, it's just an umbrella organization that worries about our welfare and advocates on our behalf as a profession what we believe we need. Very critical sector of the tripod. If there are things being government regulatory agency that we are as Veterinary Council, and we feel there are areas for which we want an improvement in the profession beyond what we have, the NVMA becomes a voice who will speak to the press, who will take our cases even beyond what the agency, the government regulatory body should do, that will not offend conflict of interest with those who have assembled us. So then the department, which is the third leg, like I said, if you cut it well, they manage the policies of government as it has to do with the profession. So that is the way it stands. So those are the three, the tripod in the profession, which you must know and separate their responsibilities properly. There are things that some people, like I said, confuse. I mean, they try to confuse the roles. They want the Veterinary Council to provide the laboratory reagents and X-rays for them. No. The Veterinary Council is not the Father Christmas. In fact, it's meant to challenge you for not having that microscope in your clinic, to tell you that your practice is not up to date, not to provide for you. So we need to know all of those differences.
Thank you so very much, sir. My final question, but please, if you have any question, I think I will just take 3. We're closing from here, so we'll not need to, if you, the boss will be able to take you back, but we're closing from here, right? So you could just pen down your questions and find a way of passing them down to me so that I can take them. All right, so we know now, don't forget, you guys will write exams, right? Expo number 1, constituent or component of the Veterinary Council board, right? And then you have to mention. So let's ask, sir, your leadership experience. So, like 3, 4, 5 years ago, I wanted to lead in the veterinary community. I got involved to some certain extent. Now I'm rethinking whether I should continue or not. That's just a joke, right? But leadership can be a tough thing, right? Beyond the title, we want the title, right? We want the recognition. Doesn't it look nice that you're the president of the veterinary council, right? It looks nice to your CV. You come in, everybody pay attention. You know, the facade around leadership is very strong. But leadership that works or that serves, that wants progress, will encounter a lot of challenges. Challenges that you want to drop the ball in the middle of the fight. I want to ask you, sir, what would be your best leadership advice to upcoming young veterinarians listening to us today?
First of all, do a disclaimer here that all you have just said about your withdrawing, not to go and become what you must become for us, I hereby disclaim them on your behalf, because we still have models for you. I also want to make a quick correction that you actually came to me, to my office, before you became the chairman of Kogi. I remember pushing to say you must go and contest. And you went back and you contested and you won.
Yes, sir.
And you did very well. You did not just win.
Yes, sir.
You dragged all of us, you dragged the Congress of the National Congress, annual Congress, to Kogi State under your leadership. So those are very positive things in your name. Leadership. I think I have a course on leadership subjects
exactly.
to you.
Yes,
okay.
Yes, from next week.
Okay, I would be taking you more, but let me just try to
you can pass your questions once you've written down the questions while
leadership. You could just have been, let me start with my personal experience now. You could just have been talking, maybe I could just have been speaking to you today as the president of the World Veterinary Association. And that would have attracted a lot of, oh, isn't it? Because I actually contested. And that tells a story. We were 6 contestants from across the world. I was counselor representing Africa, like you said. We had other counselors representing Europe, America, Oceania, other sectors as classified. And anybody could be president. Anybody. But not everybody will be president. So there must be things that you must have to give you that courage. And that is where the mindset change I was talking about comes again into play. I was the only Black man in the entire cabinet WVA for 3 years. I was the only Black. I was the only Black man. Look at the group photograph, you just see the Black man out there, even though my color is not exactly Black, but I was the only African and the only Black man. But I did not suffer inferiority complex. And a lot of veterinarians, a lot of professionals suffer inferiority complex. Don't mind what they show outwardly, medical doctor, lawyers, go close to them. Many of them suffer inferiority complex. They only try to cover those complexes with big grammar in the local parlance. My first meeting for the WVA executive was in Holland, Netherlands. And the minutes of meeting, which is always part of the normal procedure of meetings is that you must read the minutes of the past meeting, isn't it? I'm sure you should know that by now. So they read out the minutes, and as they were reading, I saw a lot of incongruent English usage. And each time I was raising my hand, President, sorry, that grammar is not right. Can you please change that word? Everybody was looking at me. Who is this Black boy? Who is this Black man? I didn't look at anybody. But I knew I was correct. And that is what you must have. You must have that courage to say no when you mean to say no. When you are being asked to use a word to describe, I notice a lot of fidgeting of what am I going to say now? Say whatever it comes to your heart to say. It doesn't have to be what anybody would like to. So I was making those corrections. Then it became like if they now read the paragraph, the secretary will look at me to see whether Gani will agree. So if I kept quiet, then it was like it sailed through. And that became like, what's going on here? And I had to tell the president, look, sorry, in my country, we use English is our lingua franca. So don't mind the colors, because most of those guys truly, some of them were Latin Americans whose own language is Spanish. They borrowed English, and the WVA's rule says that the standard language for this association is English. I saw myself seeing errors in their minutes, and I wouldn't keep quiet. I didn't keep quiet. You know what happened? The following meeting, they were now to appoint, the WVA operates with just 2 committees. The policy committee, because it's a policy guidance globally for everything veterinary subject matter. And then the finance committee, because there must be money to talk about, isn't it? Just to, if you look at the website, that's what you will see. So the following meeting, they were now to appoint chairmen for the 2 committees. That meeting was to start by 2:00, but there was this day change game, in abroad where they will reset their time, and then you gain an hour or something like that. So it was 2 p.m. to me in Nigeria. I didn't know the meeting had started by 1. So when I joined virtually, the election of the committee chairman for the policy committee had taken place. To cut a long story short, even in my absence, they voted for me as the chairman of the policy committee. In my absence. I'm only trying to use this to strengthen that view that we must never have inferiority complex wherever we are. That's very important. So having been, and that position was always reserved for future presidents in the history of WVA. So I didn't allow it to be lost on me. So when it was time to contest for president, I picked up my because with that position as the policy committee chairman, I was warehousing the secrets of the association that was 154 years old. Everything of the past was handed over to me. I was made to sign a special, to swear to a special oath of not disclosure. And then they had to pay $12,000 to train me by Canadian policy expert, Dr. Andrew. They flew me to the headquarters in Belgium. And for 3 weeks or 4 weeks, I was under the tutelage of Dr. Andrew, and they paid 12,000. And I said, if they had given me this 12,000 naira, I would look for somebody else to train me. So that was the kind of what boldness yielded me. Can I repeat that? What boldness yielded me. So when it was time to contest for the president, I picked my form. And 6 of us, a Brazilian, myself, it's an Italian guy, a Spanish guy. To reduce this long story, 3 of us qualified for the second round. That is, there was no winner because you needed 50%, 51%. None of us got 51%, but I got the second highest. So 3 of us qualified for a second round. Myself from Africa, an American guy, John DeJong, and then the current president, Raphael. And then, of course, that is where high wire politicking took place. Even some of my African brothers voted against me at the last minute when the Americans threatened them. Anyway, but Raphael won. Raphael is from Spain. What am I saying here? I think I've said many things. One, you have to be bold and brave. You must never allow inferiority complex in your life. 3, you are as qualified as anybody else to do anything. And taking it back home, like Femi said, there are sometimes you see reason to say, oh my God, why do I have to really sacrifice my time to allow this insult to come to me? No, don't see it that way. You must see selflessness in leadership. First, you also have to be a good follower to be a good leader. And that is the foundation. You must have been an obedient person, not OBI. You must be obedient to the rules and regulations of an association or a profession that guides you. That is followership. If you don't do that today, tomorrow you won't have the confidence to want to lead them. Somebody who's not paying his annual practicing license, and you now want to come and make him, you know what I'm talking about. Tell me what do you expect from such character? So obedience to the rules and regulations makes a good followership. And you need good followership to be a good leader. And then be willing, that is selflessness angle, to spare your time. Don't mind those negative feelings, those negative vibes that could discourage you. Don't. They will come, and then if losing is not the end of life, you must be courageous to want to lose, but lose honorably. And that should not be the end of it. There will always be another opportunity. I lost as MVP president before I won to become MVP president. I lost to be a vice president, and I could still win to be a vice president. So those are the things that must not shape you. You must define your own status. Don't allow the surrounding and environment to define you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so very much. So very much. Well, yeah, it's been a worthwhile time, right? Spend. Thank you. Just wanted to just hit on one of the points he made, right? Just do it, right? Leadership is a lot of courage, and that's what he started with, and perhaps also ended with a similar tone. Don't be afraid to fail. We said that in our first class, right? Mm. Just fail confidently. Mm. So failure won't bury anybody until you let it, right? Fail and still keep your head high and shoulders high, tall. There are several questions here. Permit me, I will not go through all of them. I said 3, so I'll just pick 3. And if I didn't address your question, what you could just do is also to initiate. He will be with us for 3 weeks. He's taking the leadership and career class next week, and then upper week, and then of course the last week where we'll be having our exams. Somebody is asking you, how have you been able to cope with vet profession, your family life, the society, your health? There's so many balls. You have health balls, you have family balls, you have career balls, you have a lot, right? So how do you juggle all together, sir? If you don't mind, in 1 minute.
In fact, in one word, I will just tell you that multitasking belongs to the veterinarian. That is the answer. You already have it. If the curriculum you are using is one I know, where you have to start lecture time around 8 in the morning, and then close by 5. And the lecturer, 7 o'clock now. It used to be 5. And the lecturer will expect you to resume again by 8 tomorrow, and possibly even sit for what we used to call shotguns. Yes. You want to wonder, which time did I have to read overnight to be able to do all of this? Already you are being taught multitasking. That is what you need. My family is intact. I married in 1991. I have 4 sons. I don't have a daughter. Maybe I will have daughters from you, because I have some daughters now, professional daughters today. And I did not make them veterinarians. What I mean is this, let me explain. I am the veterinarian in the house. I do not, my wife works with me, even in the clinic now, but she's not a vet. She read English and she handles administrative aspects in the clinic. The crisis is always when people turn their families into their profession. There'll be, lack of definition of roles. My veterinary practice and expertise ends when I leave my office. So those are the definitions you must put. Where your religion comes in, you must do your religion to the best. When there are committees in your mosque or your church, belong to them. There shouldn't be excuses to say because you are busy now. So multitasking is the answer. And if you apply it very well, it's a special lesson. Maybe I will take it as a leadership course.
Fantastic.
Multitasking. When I was like you in the university, I was a university footballer. Don't mind the way I look now. I played for the University of Ibadan team, football. I was a foundation member of Leventis United. That club has gone down now. They won Challenge Cup in Nigeria of those days. They were the best club in Nigeria of those days. I was the chairman of my hall, Teda Hall. I wish there were UIs here. And I was the president of EVMS. Every time during those shotguns, one of the lecturers, I don't want to mention the name, will write on my answer script. He will give me 50 exactly, over 100, and I will write, drop your extracurricular activities. And I would know with that I could have gotten more than 50 anyway, but he would not be able to fail me. So there is no inhibition. You are the only inhibition to yourself. It is you that can limit what the capacity of brain that God has factored in our heads.
Thank you so much. You could do so much. You could also multitask. Some of those things, the question asked, are important areas of our lives. Family is important. Your faith is important. Your profession and career is important. And just as he had said, I read somewhere, I think it was Jim Rohn, that you should work hard on your person than you work hard on your job, right? If you be a better person, a lot of the things you do will turn out successful. It's a better man that keeps a better family. It's a better man that keeps a progressive profession. And it's a better man that also stays healthy, right? Stop eating gari and soup 9 p.m. How many of us still eat gari and soup 9 p.m.? All right. So somebody asks, what's VCN doing in trying to standardize the veterinary curriculum? Because the various veterinary schools have different syllabus.
I will not let out the cat from the bag yet. It's part of the meeting that the VCN will be doing tomorrow. Is aware of this. Curriculum development is a very big subject matter. There was a committee to look through the current curriculum, and we found that there have been too much of theories and course overload. We have identified it, particularly those in the 600 levels. There will be a new curriculum that will come out very soon that will definitely make you guys not to talk about theory again at 600 levels. I was the chairman of the white paper committee on that subject matter, and I'm saying what I know. A lot of changes are coming. So we are working on having to review. There is too much emphasis and fears created from examination. Even when your boss, Femi, is here, said it now that in the next 2-3 weeks time, I mean, you guys will do examination. I laughed. I said, again, we are here again, examination. There must be some assessment methods that can, in abroad. I did a course in Harvard University, and I know that, yes, I did some tests which summarized my overall score at the end of the day without any stress of having to go and sit down a formal examination where people will be waiting for me to finish and then solve questions. So there must be new approaches for assessment that will still grade us and make us less tensed up by the fear of examination, the way it is today. We will get there, but definitely there's a curriculum change that would impress all of us. Yeah.
So for those of us in 600 level, just endure the cross, right? There's nothing you can do about that. But of course, we have one of the most active and thoughtful veterinary council board in recent years, and we're very proud of everything we're doing about it. Thank you. So I want to take the final question for time. Somebody said, thank you for this opportunity. You could save up the labor of 10 years by talking to the right person. Yes, we said that. How do I identify them? Yes. Is every successful person the right person? So how do you identify those people you need to talk with? So.
I said among other things when I was talking that you must develop the art to spot opportunities when they come around you. So somebody write that down. That you must develop the art, A-R-T, to spot opportunities when they come around you. The same way, success does not translate to extrovertism, isn't it? You can be a successful person and be an introvert who might not be willing to share your stories doesn't make the person a bad guy. It is just because that is his nature. So when you have an introvert and you have chosen to make such an introvert your role model, it's like making a dumb, like making a dumb your role model because you are not going to hear anything from him, isn't it? So the game is for you to know the best that comes from the man may not be from his personal experiences alone. It could just be from what he also heard people say, that he will share to you and become exact relevance to your needs. So that is left for you to know. There is no one that will put an advertisement on and say, look, I'm an extrovert, you guys will come to me, and unless I will charge for you, charge for it. So you have to open your eyes. These eyes, God gave us two eyes, not just for the fun of it. They are meant for security. I was addressing a congregation about a few days ago about security, and I was telling them in Edo State that it's not just about the gun. I've seen pictures of some policemen who had their guns on them and slept off and lost vigilance, and people stole those guns from them, isn't it? But your eyes are the best tools that God gave to us, not only the brain, because with your eyes, you can do too many things. You can spot opportunities. You can get your role models. You can get to know what you want. You can define your security. You can see the threats and the opportunities. You can see the threats with your eyes and run away. Than somebody who closes his eyes and the threats will come and catch him and take him away, isn't it? So choosing your role models or knowing who to look for is your business. It's you. There are many of Femi's type who are bottled up in their different rooms. I will not be, confident enough to want to offer an opportunity like this. It's not about money. It's about his readiness to be available to you, to the mentees. So when you see people like that, run after them and then choose them for guidance. I think that answers the question directly.
Exactly. Isn't it a full day? You've learned something important, one or two things very important today. You've not learned anything at all. Anything at all, can I see?
They'll be shy to do that.
It's been an amazing time. So find somebody who looks like where you're going. I was going to be chairman of Kogi. I wanted to contest. I needed to find somebody who was a chairman, was a national president, but more importantly, successful at both. So find somebody who looks like your desire. Then when you go around those people, always pay attention to two things, right? Because that will also determine whether you feel bitter or better at the end of the day. Some are just happy passing their lesson. Some are happier supporting you till you get there. So you have to know. Some will bottle up. But if they are willing to pass their lessons, go there with a book, go there with a pen. Let them know that what they have told you is important to you. And action those things. Because people give more feedback, especially very successful, busy people. They give you feedback today, you take it, you do nothing about it. And then you are constantly asking for feedback. Right? Nobody wants to spoon feed somebody who stays with an information and do nothing about it. Get back to them. Get back to them on your progress or your difficulties. Some people their words are few. Some words could be lengthy, but pick what you need, act on it and get back to them on your progress. That way, they feel more appreciated, that their words meant something to you. And I see this in a lot of young people, don't ever feel entitled. Take out entitlement. In fact, pay your way through to their presence. Don't go there and be looking for transport. He didn't give me transport. Trek. It's not your right to be taught. So when you get that opportunity, you have to treasure it. Don't forget the theme when we started was that you could save a lot of years, right? So talking to the right people is about the most important thing you need to save time. There's no beating of corner. If you want to start all over again, you can, but talking to the right people. But keeping those right people to keep talking to you, that's where the big job is. And it comes with two things, gratitude and action. So you are grateful when they send you a message or when they do something, be grateful for it. And then practice what they have told you. What else can we say to Dr. Gani this evening?
Let me have a closing sentence for you.
Go ahead.
It always comes to my head. Do not, take it from me, do not be cheap. There are consequences for being cheap. I don't want to pay money to go and learn new things. You should come to me free. That is being cheap. Pay your ways. They will never be of no value to you. I have an MBA, a Master in Business Administration. What do I need it for? When I did it, I was the second after but I went for MBA. It was like, what should a vet need an MBA for? But it taught me how to package myself and how to package my service. That was the time people were using MBA as hotcake to go into banks. We were 12 in my class. It was me and Oni alone, Remy, that were veterinarian. We were friends, but we just met in the class. And today, Remy is the chairman of Pencom, Abi. It's a different veterinarian. I'm a different veterinarian. When I talk where some of my classmates are, they will look at me, but you had to ask me, can you look like if you read economics in the university? When my auditors write report for me, I don't need for an interpreter, I'm able to interpret it. So pay your ways, don't be cheap. You can't get if you don't give. That is it.
Yeah. A good way to end, right? Don't be cheap, right? So on behalf of the internship community, right? I think we should get two people to give vote of thanks, right? So you need to say it. So class rep, you will need to thank Dr. Gani especially and express your gratitude. Somebody should give her the mic.
Okay, good evening, sir. Honestly, it's really been a privilege to sit and hear from me. I'm hearing Dr. Gani, and seeing you in person. It's really a very big privilege that we don't take for granted. Even if the internship is to end today, I have achieved a lot of things. Like prior to today, I had the constant struggle of trying to motivate myself, but listening to people that actually inspired me from day before yesterday to get today to today, see people like you. Honestly, sir, I am really, really grateful. On behalf of we, the interns, the leadership of Farmalert, the Nigerian Police Force, we say thank you very much. And I cannot wait to see you taking the classes. Thank you.
Ending in a good note. So what we need to do is we'll go downstairs, right? Take pictures with the veterinary. Or we can even take it here. Do we take it here or we'll take it downstairs? Which is better? I think we can do, we should do here or downstairs. I was thinking downstairs will be finer. All right, so we'll just take pictures and then from there. Okay. All right, so here I said we should take here and then we'll take downstairs. And I'm sure it's going to be colorful. This video will be online, so you could watch it, you could share it with let the people who didn't come be slightly jealous. And I'm beginning to think we might just make this a routine. So just pick students and then ensure that they learn all they could with all these things. You've been an amazing audience. And of course, I've been an amazing anchor, haven't I? So we'll bring the class to a close. From here, the boss will also still take us back if we want to go back, but it's all totally at our service. Thank you so much. And then thank you so much, sir. We're very proud of the progress and the thoughts you shared today.
It's my pleasure.